More tight end trade rumors for you Broncos country. And I get it. It's probably something that you're tired of hearing. But trust me when I say this, this is not coming from the Moose's mouth. This is coming from Broncos Mile High Sports Illustrated as a trade target. Welcome in Broncos country to the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and on today's episode, you know what I'm doing. Kyle Pitts, should he be coming to Mile High as a tight end trade candidate? Well, Sports Illustrated came out and they basically listed out all the great things about Kyle Pitts and why the Broncos should absolutely trade for him. And I'm here to say time out. Time out. As much as the hype around Kyle Pitts is sky high around NFL media circles, I'm going to tell you why on this episode, why Kyle Pitts does and does not make sense for the Denver Broncos this season or heading into next season. There's some financial reasons, there's some stylistic play reasons, and of course, there are some production reasons. Now, before I get into that, I think the better question is not should the Broncos trade for Kyle Pitts, but should the Broncos trade for a tight end? It's still been an area of contention for the Denver Broncos. Why can't we find productivity at the tight end position? I don't know. But you let me know what you think in the comments section down below or in the live chat in our live show. All right, here's what Broncos Sports Illustrated had to say. Matt, I don't even want to pronounce that, Verderame and Gilberto Manzano proposed the Broncos acquire tight end Kyle Pitts from the Atlanta Falcons in exchange for a fourth-round draft pick, landing a major upgrade, as they call it, at the position. This would be the biggest move the Broncos could make. Early on, it's been a struggle for Bo Nix in his second season, who has thrown 7 touchdowns and 4 interceptions on just 5.6 yards per attempt. So, if we look at Kyle Pitts' numbers, they aren't eye-popping. Are they better than Evan Ingram's numbers? Yes, they are. But Kyle Pitts is one of those players that has not lived up to his draft stock hype. And I'm going to make sure that you know why it would make sense for the Broncos to trade for Kyle Pitts. I know I was just kind of harping on him, not for reaching that hype, but when it comes to filling a spot and a need for stability at the tight end position, Kyle Pitts is very stable at that position. So here's why it fully makes sense for the Denver Broncos to go out and try to trade for Kyle Pitts. Tight end is still a weak spot for the Denver Broncos. We know that much to be true. We thought Evan Ingram was going to hit the ground running, and it's clearly taken a long time with the injuries that he's dealing with, the calf, the back, you name it. It's not translated onto the field. Our second reason why it makes sense is that, believe it or not, Kyle Pitts kind of fits that joker tight end mold. Somebody that is long and lengthy and speedy and can line up in the slot, can line up out wide. Doesn't necessarily need to throw a block, but can if you need to, but likes to play more as a bigger-bodied wide receiver. We all know what Sean Payton thinks about those guys. And then, of course, the final reason, and this probably makes the most sense, the Falcons won't do contract talk with him right now. They refuse to negotiate with Kyle Pitts' agent, so much so that Kyle Pitts actually went to the mic and said, yeah, I'm not really worried about it right now because I haven't heard anything from the Falcons front office. Here's another thing that you need to know. And this is important in deciding if you're going to trade for a player like Kyle Pitts. If the Falcons end up franchise tagging Kyle Pitts, they have to pay him $16 million next season in 2026. That is a massive amount of money for a tight end. And not just a tight end that has kind of fallen short of what everybody predicted him to be. By the way, that's 5th in the NFL in highest paid per year, $16 million. Remember, we are talking about the comparisons between Evan Ingram and why Kyle Pitts would make more sense to bring on right now if you were to trade for him. Well, the numbers don't lie. Kyle Pitts has been clearly better than Evan Ingram this year. He beats him in almost every statistical category. Games played, yes, he's got more. Targets, yes, he's got more. Receptions, of course, duh. And then obviously more than triples the amount of yards that Evan Ingram has. Plus, he's found the end zone zone where Evan Ingram has not. I'm not going to lie to you. The numbers for Kyle Pitts don't wow me enough to get rid of Evan Ingram. But I will say this. Pitts has a longer future than Evan Ingram as well. Kyle Pitts is 24 years old. Evan Ingram is 29. So we're talking about a guy who is kind of on the decline going out of his prime, whereas someone is just ascending into his prime. And here's another reason why I think the Atlanta Falcons clearly have not gotten the most out of Kyle Pitts. They don't use Kyle Pitts like a traditional tight end. Whereas I believe the Denver Broncos could absolutely do that. Did you know the Falcons rank 31st in the NFL in play action usage at 9.5%? If you've been watching football for longer than, we'll call it 3 years, you would know that a tight end is so unbelievably important in the play action game. It is also unbelievably important for those two, your quarterback and your tight end, to be in sync during the play action game. Well, if you're not even running the play action, how on earth is a young quarterback like Michael Penix Jr. supposed to get in consistency and, in a rapport with his tight end? It just doesn't make sense. But that's where Sean Payton comes in, because he's a whole lot better at calling plays than Zach Robinson is in Atlanta. The Broncos rank 6th in the NFL in play action usage at 17.8%. And we know that Bo Nix would love to target a tight end. And the great thing is, he kind of plays a little bit like Evan Ingram. We're going to touch on that here in just a little bit. So it's not like you'd be getting a completely different player stylistically than Evan Ingram. In fact, I believe that Kyle Pitts and Evan Ingram are almost the exact same player, but Kyle Pitts can actually do just a little bit more. So if you had to pick a tight end, pick one. Evan Ingram or Kyle Pitts. For Evan Ingram, type EE. For Kyle Pitts, type KP. Right now, I'm still typing my EEs because, like I told you, I don't necessarily know that there is a reason to go out and trade for Kyle Pitts. But you let me know in the comment section down below. So why not Kyle Pitts? What are the reasons that I don't believe the Broncos should go out and trade for Kyle Pitts? Well, I kind of talked a little bit about why I believe they shouldn't. But I've got 3 big reasons why I'm not sold on Kyle Pitts. Here's number 1, and probably the biggest one. He's not a complement to Evan Ingram. As I told you, they play very similar styles of football. They're both long, they're both lengthy, they both like to line up in the slot, they're both not great at blocking. They are both almost the exact same players stylistically when it comes to what they do well, which is run routes, go fluid, and just kind of roam around the field and find open space. Here's another reason that I don't want Kyle Pitts. He won't live up to the hype. He hasn't lived up to the hype. His rookie season was by far his best, and it's been a steady decline ever since. In fact, the only year that he's climbed over 1,000 yards was his rookie season in 2021, 2022, 23, and 2024. Pop, 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 down, 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 down. So what makes me think that Sean Payton's finally going to unlock Kyle Pitts? Even if he does sort of unlock him, you're only looking at about 1,000 yards regardless. And then here's another big reason. Kyle Pitts is going to want a new contract. Guaranteed. That's the biggest point of contention between Kyle Pitts, his agents, and the Atlanta Falcons right now. Kyle Pitts wants guaranteed generational money that'll set him and his family up for future years to come. And I don't believe that the Denver Broncos would want to give him a contract extension. If anything, they would franchise tag him. And why would you want to franchise tag a player that has not hit over 1,000 yards in 3 years? Back-to-back years of fully healthy seasons in 2024 and 2023. 667 yards, 602 yards. He doesn't find the end zone. He's not doing a whole lot in terms of receptions per game. It's kind of mid. It's kind of mid. And I've already given you a player that I think the Broncos should trade for. If the Broncos are going to trade for a tight end, give me someone powerful, someone traditional, someone that's not afraid to put their hand on the ground, go over the middle of the field, body off of some middle linebackers, catch the ball in contention, and just be that dominating presence over the middle of the field. a.k.a. David Njoku, who, by the way, is already the 6th highest paid player. So if you were going to franchise tag Kyle Pitts, you'd make him the 5th highest. He'd be paid higher than David Njoku, and he's not nearly as good. You see what I'm saying? So as much as Broncos Sports Illustrated thinks that they're making something happen with this kind of article that they pushed out, 1, I think it's for the clicks. 2, I think they're going off of name brand. Kyle Pitts was the 4th overall pick in the 2021 draft, right? We're talking about a guy that had all of the pre-draft measurements. He's got the speed. He's got the power, the agility, the size. What has it done? And now you've had Kirk Cousins over there in Atlanta. You have Michael Penix Jr. now in Atlanta. 2 players that stand in the pocket and deliver the ball like a point guard. And Kyle Pitts still hasn't been able to do anything with it. It's just not worth the squeeze. The juice in this case being Kyle Pitts, not worth trading for. And I know that their offer was a 4th-round pick for Kyle Pitts. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't want to give that up. So I'm not going to. I'm going to type my N for no. So if you want the Broncos to trade for Kyle Pitts, you just let me know in the comment section down below. Truth be told, I don't think it's worth it. I think the Broncos could go out and draft a tight end next year. I still believe in Evan Ingram's ability to turn this season around, albeit the first 4 games not been that great. But all things considered, the Broncos are still 2-2. They have a game against the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm assuming they're going to try to get Evan Ingram involved as early and as often as they can. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. A reminder to hit that subscribe button, like today's video, and as always, be cool.